All right, so we're 6 weeks into the Iran war, and the Trump administration just had one of the most embarrassing weekends of their tenure, and that is a high bar to cross. Let's take a look.
The bad news is that we have not reached an agreement, and I think that's bad news for Iran much more than it's bad news for the United States of America. So we go back to the United States having not come to an agreement.
The 45th and now 47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
I'm not a fan of Bubblia.
All right, even for the Trump administration, this was a wild weekend to say the least. So over the weekend, we were supposed to have peace talks with Iran, to try to end this war, and for some reason, they sent JD Vance and Witkoff over there to Pakistan, and it all seems like they're not being serious about it, to say the least. And why do I say that? Well, JD Vance a week ago was in Hungary campaigning for the dictator over there, so he hasn't even really been involved in the war. This is Trump's war. Why is Trump not negotiating? And furthermore, like Trump's weekend was weird. Like he went to a UFC event, he went golfing, he made a picture of himself depicting himself as Jesus. He started a fight with the Pope, and now he's doing a blockade on Iran, which is weird because gas prices are expensive because Iran has been blocking the Strait of Hormuz, and now Trump wants to block the Strait of Hormuz as well and make that situation even worse. It doesn't make any sense. So let's get to the ceasefire thing real quick and how that ended up not working out this weekend.
We've been at it now for 21 hours, and we've had a number of substantive discussions with the Iranians. That's the good news. The bad news is that we have not reached an agreement, and I think that's bad news for Iran much more than it's bad news for the United States of America. So we go back to the United States having not come to an agreement. We've made very clear what our red lines are, what things we're willing to accommodate them on, and what things we're not willing to accommodate them on. And we've made that as clear as we possibly could, and they have chosen not to accept our terms.
I just listened to JD Vance talk about this thing, and it seems like he's either not informed or he's not being serious. Like to say that they didn't accept our terms, like, did we accept their terms? What are their terms? What are our terms? Like, just the vagueness makes it seem not real, you know? And the Trump administration always does this. They always like whenever there's something like a talk like this is going on, like the trade talks, they're like, we've been talking a lot about this, and we were talking for 21 hours, but nothing came out of it. Why does it matter how long you were talking? You still failed. It has no bearing how long you were talking. So I don't even like I'm curious to hear what they were even talking about. Like the stories I've heard is that JD Vance had to call Trump like dozens of times to get, ask him questions like, hey, can we do this? Can we do that? It's just the way the whole thing is set up. It just doesn't seem real. And what makes it seem not even real is the fact that when this was going on, Trump was at a UFC event. All right, so did anybody else notice that? Donald Trump reaches back to grab Dana White's hand, and Dana White holds it for a second. Now, it's weird. That is a weird thing that just happened. I get it, Trump's an old man, but did you see him stumble or something? Like, what the hell was that? That was a weird thing to see. Is that Marco Rubio? Are you kidding me right now? The president and the secretary of state are at a UFC event when there's ceasefire negotiations going on in a war. We're about to be in a world war. We're talking about nuclear weapons. We're talking about oil prices. And two of the most important people in the world are at a UFC event. Make that make sense. What a fucking embarrassment. This administration is a joke. The war's not serious. The ceasefire talks aren't serious. Nothing is serious about this administration. Why are you at UFC? You're at every UFC event. Why? Do you even like Ultimate Fighting? I'm going to have to say no. There's no way that Trump watches UFC. That is bullshit. He only watches it because they all suck his orange wiener. Anyway, let's talk about the ceasefire talks. That's what the big thing that happened this weekend. We were supposed to stop the war this weekend with these talks, and obviously they failed. So since they failed, now Trump decided to do a blockade on the entire strait. So there'll be zero oil coming out of the strait theoretically. So gas prices were already bad because Iran had stopped the flow of the strait, the flow of oil from the strait. Now the US is going to do it as well. What do you guys think that's going to do to gas prices? It's going to make it worse. And how is that going to change anything? Short answer, it's not. It's a terrible idea. Let's listen to Trump talk about it real quick.
I would say it's holding well. Their military is destroyed. Their whole Navy is underwater. You know that 158 ships are gone. Their Navy's gone. Most of their mine droppers are gone. We have a lot of people, as you know, at 10 o'clock tomorrow, we have a blockade going into effect. That'll be 10 o'clock tomorrow. Other nations are working so that Iran will not be able to sell oil, and that would be very effective. But what we want to do is we want to, and again, we don't need it. What we notice and what we see and what I think is maybe my idea, maybe not, I don't know. But there are many boats heading toward our country to fill up with oil and then go and take it. So they're not going to go through the Hormuz Strait. And ultimately that'll be corrected. But in the meantime, they're using us. We have more oil because of drill baby drill. We have more oil than Russia and Saudi Arabia put together. So if you look at Russia and Saudi Arabia, two big ones, we have much more oil than they have put together. And what's happening is boats are coming over here, filling up. We don't have to go through the Hormuz. She's in great shape. Great shape. Look at her. You want a picture? Come on over here. Is she in good shape or what? Thank you so much. I know you're all members, right? Yeah. Come on, let's go. Yes, sir. Is that your husband?
This is weird. This is weird. Like, she's in great shape. He says it multiple times. He slammed his brakes on the cart so he could take a picture and touch this woman. And then he asked this woman, this guy, is this your husband? This is why the Epstein files, all that. This is one of the creepiest men that has ever existed. What a creepy video. What a creepy guy. Unbelievable. So it wasn't just UFC and golf. Trump picked up one more, extracurricular activity this weekend, and that is start another war. He started a war with the Pope.
Why did you attack Pope Leo on Truth Social?
I don't think he's doing a very good job. He likes crime, I guess. He hit us. Think of it. He's worried about fear. What about the fear when the ministers and the priests and all of those great people that were arrested during COVID, and in many cases they're outside 10 feet apart, and they were arrested. So we don't like it. We don't like a pope that's going to say that it's okay to have a nuclear weapon. We don't want a pope that says crime is okay in our cities. I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of Pope Leo. He's a very liberal person, and he's a man that doesn't believe in stopping crime. He's a man that doesn't think that we should be toying with a country that wants a nuclear weapon so they can blow up the world. I'm not a fan of Pope Leo.
So according to Trump, the Pope affected U.S. COVID policy back in 2000. The Pope is also soft on crime and wants crime to be in communities. And he's also okay with countries having nuclear weapons. That is what Trump is claiming about the Pope. What in the incoherent ramble was that? In reality, the Pope has spoken out on the war in Iran and how the US and Israel is just killing civilians indiscriminately. The Pope is against that, believe it or not. And Trump is mad that the Pope has spoken out against the Iran war. So that's where Trump is at right now, making every enemy he possibly can to the point where he has no allies. All he has is sycophants, people that either want a piece of his power, a piece of his money, or want something from him. But no one is actually supporting this guy right now in a real, genuine way. It is getting weirder by the hour, by the day, by the week. This shit is out of control. You know why I say that? Because after all of this happened, Donald Trump posts a picture of him being Jesus Christ. And before I got a chance to even publish this video, I heard him on CNN talking, and he said that he thought that was a picture of him being a doctor. The picture is clearly him as Jesus Christ, but he tells the world that he thinks he posted a picture of himself as a doctor. Here's the picture. Okay, there it is. There's the picture that Trump posted of himself as Jesus Christ, which he claims is him as a doctor. Yeah. This is the state of the United States government and the United States president in 2026. The guy legitimately thinks that he's Jesus Christ. God help us all. And actually help me too. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll keep bringing you more embarrassing shit from the White House.